Hey, I'm John Cannell, and today on Preppy Kitchen we're making some easy, show-stopping Duchess potatoes. So let's get started. First off, set your oven to 425 and line a baking sheet with parchment paper. Now grab 2 pounds of potatoes. You could use Yukon Gold, russet, or both. I'm using Yukon Gold today because they're super creamy. Peel your potatoes and then we're gonna give them a chop. This is pretty boring, so we're gonna skip forward with the magic of editing. Everything's peeled and now it's time to chop your potatoes. The piece size doesn't really matter as long as you stick to it. So all the pieces should be the same size, either really big or 1/4 of an inch. The only thing that will change is the cook time. So bigger pieces will take a bit longer when they're in the water. I'm aiming for 3/4 of an inch cubes, roughly. If you haven't had Duchess potatoes before, they are delicious, really impressive, but so easy. It's basically like a whipped mashed potato that's piped. They actually come from France, and as you probably know, potatoes came from America, so when Europeans found out about them, they weren't that enthused. People were very suspicious of these things that grow in the ground, these grubby little potatoes, and it was very challenging to change their minds, so they had to come up with really good recipes that used potatoes that would delight the palate of someone from France, for example. Made for the Duke and Duchess of Bourgogne. I'm not pronouncing that correctly. Made for the Duke and Duchess of Bourgogne by their chef. It was an attempt to make them seem fancy and delicious, and it worked. That's the end of the story. I'm almost done chopping. It's time to transfer your potatoes to a large pot. And we're gonna cover this with an inch or 2 of cold water. You never put hot water in the potatoes, cold. So it starts nice and cool, works its way up, and the potato is done throughout. If you put them in hot water, the outside will be overcooked and the inside will be raw. My pot's filled, so now we're going to add enough cold water to cover these with about an inch. All right. That's great. So now this gets placed over high heat until it comes to a boil. Optional, but I'm gonna add a nice 5-fingered pinch of salt. You're gonna make what's similar to the creamiest, lightest mashed potatoes ever. So these potatoes are gonna come to a boil and you will boil them on high for about 15 to 20 minutes or until they are very tender. They have to pass through really small holes in a ricer or a sieve. Then they'll be mixed with many delicious things I'll show you in a minute, and they're gonna pass through a piping tip, and you want to have everything uniform and creamy so there's no lump getting stuck in the piping tip, which means nice and soft. My potatoes have been boiling away, so let's give them a check. Just gonna lift them up with a fork. You be careful of steam burns, those are the worst. And yeah, they crumple up right away. These are ready to go. These guys are going right into a colander. You do not want a ton of water in here, so really drain them well. And if things seem hopeless, just pop them back into your pot and put them over low heat for 1 minute. It's the same trick that we do for mashed potatoes. Just a little bit of heat will help all the excess water evaporate, so you're left with pure starchy deliciousness and no watery nonsense. All right, my potatoes are nice and dry and even a little bit cooled. Done with those. I'm gonna scoop these in, and you have 2 options here. You could just mash it up, but I'm channeling my inner French cook, which kind of exists, and I will pass this directly through a fine mesh sieve. If you don't care about this or you don't have a fine mesh sieve, just mash them really well or pass them through a potato ricer. You can do this in batches and just use a wooden spoon to press the potatoes through and, enjoy the ride. As you work in batches, you're gonna want to use a spatula and just clean the outside of your sieve off and get all that creamy potato deliciousness right into your bowl. And continue the process. We're almost done. One wrist workout later, my potatoes are all nice and creamy, so get those into a bowl, and it's time to grab 2 tablespoons of melted butter. And if you haven't melted your butter, pop it into a small bowl, half power on your microwave in 20-second bursts. There's actually a 1/4 cup of melted butter in this recipe, but it's 2 tablespoons first, and then another 2 tablespoons. So just FYI, pour that in. butter for richness, a little cream to soften things up. This is 2 tablespoons, and I heated this up so it's room temperature. If you use cold ingredients, I don't know, it's a little bit annoying. Room temperature or warm is best. Pour that in. I also want 1 teaspoon of salt for some flavor. And a 1/4 teaspoon of freshly cracked black pepper. If you don't like the way black pepper specks look in a beautiful piped Duchess potato dollop, you could use white pepper, and it's totally fine. It's just gonna be kind of with no specks. For flavor, I also want a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, and I love using my rasp, so let's grab that. And a nutmeg nut, and just eyeball a 1/4 teaspoon. Our mixture is almost complete, and it's time to mix it all together. I'm just folding it with a spatula until it's well combined. Nicely mixed, it's time to add 3 egg yolks. We only want the richness of the yolks, not the whites, so separate those out. My mixture is cooled because we're moving cameras around, but if you're working quickly and this potato situation is very hot, just let it cool down until it's close to room temperature or slightly warm. You don't want to cook your egg yolks. Add your yolks in one at a time, mix well, and then add the next until they're all in. Last yolk going in, and I'm just gonna mix this and make sure it's all distributed. There's no weird liquidy pockets. You don't want your paper to slide all around and make the piping frustrating, so grab a little dollop, place it on the bottom, and use it as glue to hold the paper down, just like you do with meringues when you pipe those. Now I'm gonna pipe 12 mounds that are 2 inches high and 2.5 inches wide. It's basically like piping a really beautiful dollop on a cupcake, but it's made of potatoes. I'm gonna pop these into the fridge because it's lunchtime and I'm hungry, but there's 2 reasons to refrigerate these. 3 reasons. 1, you wanna make these in advance. You're having people over and you don't wanna be stressed. 2, you just wanna take a break like I do. And 3, if your potatoes are a little bit saggy and wobbly, maybe it's had too much moisture in them, go ahead and pop them into the fridge for 20 or 30 minutes to firm up and then bake them. We'll be right back. My potatoes chilled. I melted 2 tablespoons of butter and very gently brush the tops of your mounds with some melted butter, and it's gonna give you some richness, a little bit of shine, and help brown things up. My potatoes are ready to go into the oven, 425 for about 20 minutes or until the edges are golden brown. In you go. Garnish with minced parsley or dill, and they're ready to enjoy. It's like twice baked mashed potatoes, but even better. It's so creamy on the inside with a nice crisp skin. I hope you get to try this recipe, and if you like this video, check out my side dish playlist.